Tien, extremely skilled in Muay Thai, is held captive and both his elbows and knees are snapped on Lord Rajasena's orders. When Rajasena orders his men to kill him, a man arrives to save him. Will Tien and his mysterious savior emerge victorious from this perilous encounter, or will they succumb to the wrath of Lord Rajasena? Stay tuned as we unravel the fate of our heroes in this gripping tale of courage and resilience. The brutal punishment. The movie starts with Tien tied up in a pillory, unconscious and covered in blood. Soldiers came and splashed water on him, then remove him from the pillory and he fell to the ground on his chest. As the herald steps forward, he announces the revocation of Tien's rights and the commencement of his punishment, which will consist of 13 torturous punishments. The soldiers, following the herald's command, begin the brutal punishment, subjecting Tien to a series of tortures designed to break his spirit. Tien is dragged forcefully by 2 soldiers, each gripping one of his arms and pulling in opposite directions. As he struggles against their hold, more soldiers rush in, brandishing sticks and clubs. They begin to strike Tien with brutal force, the blows landing on his back, shoulders, and legs. With each hit, Tien's strength wanes, and he eventually collapses to his knees, gasping for breath. The fight for survival. The soldiers encircle him, their faces twisted in cruel determination as they continue to beat him with their weapons. Tien tries to shield himself with his arms, but the onslaught is relentless. The sound of the sticks striking his body echoes through the air, mingling with his grunts of pain. Despite his best efforts, Tien is unable to withstand the punishment for long. The soldiers use their sticks to lift him back up, forcing him to endure even more agony. The scene is one of brutal violence and domination, with Tien at the mercy of his tormentors. Lord Rajasena sits watching with a smile on his face. He commands the soldiers to crush every bone in Tien's body, and to ensure he follows his father to death. Tien stares back at Lord Rajasena. Gathering all his remaining strength, Tien pushes the soldiers away, striking one of them. Another soldier rushes toward him with a stick, but Tien uses the chain on his leg to repel the attack. He grabs a stick and strikes another soldier, then wields the chain on his hands like a whip to fend off his attackers. Tien, surrounded by the soldiers, uses the chain from his pillory as a weapon. With each swing he hits the soldiers, forcing them back. Despite being outnumbered, Tien fights fiercely, showing remarkable skill and determination. The soldiers, taken aback by his ferocity, struggle to keep up with his movements. Tien's iron fists, wrapped in the chain, deliver powerful blows, causing the soldiers to retreat momentarily. However, they quickly regroup, surrounding him once again, determined to subdue him. As the fight reaches its climax, the sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows over the battlefield. Tien's body is battered and bruised, his movements sluggish and labored. Blood trickles from his mouth, a grim testament to the brutality of the encounter. Lord Rajasena watches with a cold, calculating gaze, his lips curling into a smug smile. He revels in Tien's defeat, relishing the sight of his adversary crumpling to the ground in defeat. The once proud warrior now lies motionless, his spirit broken and his body broken. The air is heavy with tension as the onlookers hold their breath, the outcome of the battle clear. Tien's unconscious form lies sprawled on the ground, a stark contrast to the triumphant figure of Lord Rajasena standing tall and victorious. The silence is deafening, punctuated only by the sound of Tien's shallow breaths as he struggles to cling to consciousness in the face of defeat. 2 people are carrying someone who is sick on a stretcher. Around them, there are many other sick people lying on the ground. Not far away, 2 women are praying in front of a statue of a god. When they finish praying, the young woman helps the other to stand up, and they start walking away. A man comes with a cup of water and gives it to the older woman. She takes a small drink and then tells the man what to do. She says to mix a little bit of a special plant with a lot of salt, and to add some peppers to it. The man listens carefully, nods to show he understands, and then goes. Then she moved to another patient, a woman who was in great distress, screaming and crying out in pain. She gently approached her. Offering words of comfort and reassurance, she told the suffering woman, "Don't worry, the angels are watching over you. They will protect you and guide you through this difficult time. Two guys are walking, talking. One of them tells the other to observe each patient and notes that they all appear to have similar symptoms. The second person explains that according to what he has heard, the patients were cursed. He told him that Master Bua has undertaken a pilgrimage in an attempt to break the curse affecting the patients. Men showed up in front of them screaming, "Curse!" and they told him to go away, and he ran. The vision of redemption. Master Fra Bua is praying in a temple when he experiences a vision. In the vision, he sees Tien being repeatedly hit with a chain. The scene shifts to Tien's last battle with the soldiers, and then to a memory of Tien and Pim as children. Pim pleads with Tien to return as he leaves with a man on a horse, giving her a toy as a farewell gift. In the present, black smoke emerges from Tien, who is tied in a dungeon. The smoke goes to Master Fra Bua and exits through his nose. Following this experience, he shaved his head and dressed as a monk. The rescue Rajasena is haunted by voices accusing him of being cursed, taking him back to the moment he killed the king. Before dying, the king made a toast, invoking the gods to protect those loyal to him, and cursing anyone who betrays him or the land to a miserable fate and eternal torment. Then, the moment the king sips from the cup, he gets poisoned and falls to his knees. As he collapsed, Rajasena spilled his drink. The dying king then told Rajasena that he is cursed and will have a miserable end. Returning to the present, blood begins to flow from Rajasena's head. The place he is in starts to collapse. The stone statues of elephants come to life and start pounding the ground, causing the place to crumble. As Rajasena looks down, he sees that all of his soldiers are dead. Suddenly, he wakes up from this nightmare, gasping for air. After waking up from his nightmare, Rajasena hears noise outside. A battle is going on between his soldiers and a group attempting to rescue Tien. Two rescuers reach Tien and start unlocking his chains, but Bhuti intervenes and attacks them. Rajasena watches Bhuti defeat each rescuer and clap. He then offers Bhuti a position in his service, promising to grant him whatever he desires. Bhuti responds, stating he has no desires to be fulfilled by the king. Rajasena, feeling insulted by Bhuti's refusal to negotiate, asserts his authority, calling himself a King Garuda and Bhuti just a crow. He then asked Rajasena about his nightmares and the curse that haunts him, claiming that only Bhuti can break the curse and that Rajasena must seek his help. After saying this, Bhuti lets out a laugh, transforms into a crow, and flies away. Rajasena, filled with anger, orders his soldiers to behead Tien. The assassination. In a bustling town square, Pim stands among a crowd of onlookers, their faces reflecting a mix of shock and disbelief as they read the grim proclamation posted on the wall. The order to behead Tien looms ominously, casting a shadow over the gathered individuals. Pim's expression is one of concern and uncertainty, unsure of what to make of the situation unfolding before them. Tien is tied up in the pillory again, with soldiers coming at him to carry out Rajasena's order. They stand next to Tien, swords in hand, as Rajasena gives the command to execute him. Just as one of the soldiers is about to strike Tien with his sword, a messenger on horseback arrives just in time, calling for a halt to the execution. He announces that he has come to take Tien from death row by the command of the king of Ayutthaya, as per a royal decree. Rajasena is furious, reading the message from King Ayutthaya and seeing that Tien has been released from the pillory. He asked how Ayutthaya could betray him like this. One of his men suggests that there might be a traitor plotting against Rajasena and assures him that assassins have been sent to resolve the issue. While discussing this, Rajasena begins to experience hallucinations and hears whispers saying he is cursed. A crow flies past him, and the men kneeling before him start repeating, "I curse you." Rajasena stands up and slashes one of them with his sword. When he snaps back to reality, he realizes he has killed one of his own men. Looking up, he sees a large flock of crows flying in the sky. Tien's awakening. The messenger brought Tien to a village where patients are being treated. As they carried him in on a stretcher, Pim caught sight of him. She came to uncover his face and was shocked to see it was Tien. As she stood there in shock, the village came under attack. Among the attackers, one of them ordered Tien to be beheaded. Pim dragged Tien to the ground and sat there hugging him. The villagers fought back, but the soldiers were overpowering them. The messenger was the last one standing and managed to kill all the attackers except for one, who stabbed him. Then, an elderly man from the village engaged the remaining soldier in combat. The messenger, using his remaining strength, attacked from behind, but the soldier managed to stab the elderly man. However, the soldier's throat had already been slit, so he too fell dead. Tien is lying down, surrounded by people, with Master Bua standing beside him. Pim, concerned, asks if there is any hope for Tien. Master Bua explains that Tien was born under an ominous sign and is suffering in this life due to his actions in a past life. He mentions that Tien's physical body is waiting for his mind to be free of wrath and that he is battling the consequences of his karma. Master Bua states that he will try to alleviate Tien's tortured fate and suggests that if they can unite the power of their minds to create a symbol of faith, it might prolong Tien's life. He believes that the merit created could appease the enemies from Tien's past life, clearing the way for his tormented soul to return to his body. The villagers gathered to construct the Ong Bak Buddha statue, with each person donating their jewelry and other items for the statue's creation. Pim contributes Tien's parting gift to the communal efforts. She then engages in a heartfelt dance and offers sincere prayers, hoping for Tien's recovery. After her dance and prayers, Tien awakens, taking in a deep breath as he comes back to consciousness, facing despair. When Tien wakes up, he discovers that he is crippled due to his injuries. Pim tries to comfort him by reassuring him that he is improving and expressing hope that they will be able to dance together soon. Pim attempts to help Tien stand up while singing to him, but he struggles to support his own weight and falls. Tien tries to get up by himself, but he falls again. Frustrated, he pushes Pim away when she tries to help him and screams, "Go away," and starts crying. Tien uses a stick to support himself as he moves to a cliff, intending to end his life. Men, a villager, spots him and approaches. Men asks Tien if he is crying and offers to accompany him in jumping off the cliff. Despite Tien's repeated demands for Men to go away, Men persists, saying he will jump with Tien and urging him to hurry. Men continues to talk, saying the cliff is high and suggesting they should go back. Tien, frustrated, insists that Men leave. Men tells Tien not to cry and to laugh instead, persuading him to step back from the edge. Master Bua appears as Tien contemplates jumping off the cliff. He encourages Tien to go ahead and jump, noting that Men, the insane villager, won't follow him. Master Bua points out that Men, despite his insanity, might understand the world better than a sane person like Tien at this moment. Tien expresses his despair, feeling that his life is worthless, even though he is alive. Master Bua mentions his ominous fate and how his name, which means light, cannot rectify his situation. Tien struggles to accept living in his current state. Master Bua then shared wisdom, telling Tien to look in front of him and see the light of wisdom driving away the darkness. He points out Tien's shadow on the ground, reminding him that wherever there is a shadow, the light is always nearby. Enlightenment Tien, seeking guidance, drags himself to a temple. He asks what he should do, and a voice advises him to practice meditation. He begins meditating in the temple, reflecting on his childhood and the traumatic memory of his father's death. As he meditates, he focuses on trying to unclench his fingers and move his feet. Through his determination and meditation, he finally manages to stand straight. While Tony was practicing, Mahen showed up and announced that he had brought him a beautiful lady. Pim appeared, smiling, and Tien also smiled upon seeing her. She then joined him, and they started to practice dancing together. Through their practice, Tien managed to unclench his fingers, and his movement improved. Tien went to Master Bua and expresses his understanding of why Master Bua taught him the arts of dancing, recognizing it as therapy for both body and mind. He expresses gratitude to the master for changing his life. Master Bua responds that it is Tien's mind that has finally opened to change, advising him to transform enemies into dancing partners and to be aware of the sins that cause suffering, such as greed, wrath, and ignorance. In a serene garden, Master Bua and Tien stand in a moment of quiet contemplation, their figures illuminated by the soft glow of the setting sun. Master Bua's wise words hang in the air, urging Tien to seek out the light of wisdom amidst the darkness that surrounds them. Tien's gaze is fixed on his own shadow cast on the ground, a tangible reminder of the presence of light even in the midst of obscurity. Tien diligently trains day and night, following Master Bua's teachings. The garden's tranquility fuels his determination as he seeks enlightenment in the interplay of light and shadow. Master Bua's wisdom guides Tien on a path of self-discovery and growth, inspiring him to embrace the journey ahead. Rajasena, along with his soldiers, visits Bhuti's castle. As he was looking around, a swarm of crows suddenly appeared, flying around them. Rajasena hears a voice that says, "My castle welcomes only you, Your Highness." Rajasena enters the castle and sees human skulls. He heard a laugh, and he followed the sound. He found Bhuti sitting. Bhuti tells Rajasena he is honored by his visit. As they converse, a dark smoke enters Rajasena's nostrils, leading him to hear a thin, high-pitched sound. Rajasena grabs his head in pain. Rajasena, filled with suspicion, asks Bhuti about his true desires. Bhuti responds that he seeks power and wishes to possess everything that Rajasena owns. He wants to hold sway over all that Rajasena has built and acquired throughout his reign. Rajasena went to Bhuti picking a sword. He then ran to him and stabbed him on the chest. Bhuti wasn't hurt by the stab. Instead, he started controlling the movement of Bhuti with his head. Then he pushed Rajasena out of the castle. Rajasena's soldiers help him up, and he orders them to kill Bhuti. Then a battle starts. Bhuti demonstrates his superior fighting skills, overpowering everyone in his path. Seeing this, Rajasena sends in more soldiers with strict instructions that Bhuti must not survive. Bhuti skillfully overpowered all of Rajasena's soldiers and finally approached Rajasena himself. In response, Rajasena grabbed a bow and started to prepare it. However, just as he was doing so, the wall that Bhuti was standing on began to crumble. Bhuti told Rajasena that power should be held by those who truly deserve it. Rajasena, angered by this statement, labels Bhuti a traitor and raises his bow to shoot him. As he releases the arrow, Bhuti skillfully jumps, evading the attack, and flies past Rajasena, slashing his neck with his knife in a swift motion. Bhuti confidently went into Rajasena's castle, asserting his authority over the assembled soldiers and courtiers. He boldly commands them to recognize and submit to him as their rightful ruler, declaring himself the new king of the land. Tragedy on the village. Tien continues his training and meditation, focusing on his inner peace and strength. He finds a quiet spot in a cave to meditate. After a while, he opens his eyes, showing he's ready to face whatever comes next. While Tien was practicing, men came and told him that he had a guest and called for someone, saying he was here. A man approached and spotted Tien. He then shouted, "Capture him!" Men, who was nearby, appeared confused, thinking the command was meant for him. However, Tien understood that he was the one the man intended to capture. A lot of people emerged from different directions and started attacking Tien. In response, Tien fought back against his attackers. Mien, playfully mimicking Tien's movements, accidentally steps on the foot of the man he brought along. Apologizing, Mehen assures the man he'll remove his foot, which he does. However, as the fight intensifies and Tien is punching the guys, Mehen starts punching the man next to him as well. The man, now furious, gives Mehen a stern look before drawing his sword and charging towards Tien. Tien shoved his attacker and quickly grabbed a rope from the ground, causing several of them to trip and stumble. Men, noticing this, picked up the other end of the rope, which made their coordinated attack using the rope more effective. After he was done with those guys, Tien ran to the village. He saw everyone was lying on the ground, dead. As he looks around, everything is trashed and burned. As he was looking around, he heard footsteps and managed to repulse an attack from behind. Then a lot of guys came again and he started fighting again. One of them slashed the face of the Buddha's statue while fighting. Tien went to the river and washed his face. He then came back to Master Bua. He told him that he is the chosen one to fight ignorance and gave him his stick. Tien accepted the stick and closed his eyes as he was kneeling. Revenge. In the town where Rajasena used to rule, the workers are being treated harshly. Soldiers are using whips to make them work faster. Even the elephants are not spared. They too are being hit by the soldiers to make them work. Pim is there among the workers, trying to do her job. Suddenly, a soldier hits her with his whip, just like he does to everyone else. She quickly squats down, trying to avoid getting hit again. A group of soldiers is seen working together. exerting their strength as they pull on ropes tightly bound around a massive elephant. They're trying to make the powerful creature fall to the ground, but despite their combined efforts, the elephant resists and remains standing. In a sudden and brutal move, one of the soldiers takes a sharp weapon and stabs the elephant, causing it to bleed profusely. Bhuti, observing the scene, approaches with a sense of purpose. He holds a cup under the flowing blood, collecting it as it pours out from the elephant's wound. While this was going, they heard a voice that said, "Stop your evil acts." Everyone looked up to see who it was. Bhuti was drinking the blood of the elephant and looked up with blood all over his mouth. Then he saw Tien standing at the top of a building. He said, "You finally came," and smiled. Tien told him that he came to stop him. Pim's eyes are filled with tears as she gazes at the scene unfolding before her. Bhuti, with a tone of confidence, tells Tien that no one can stop him, not even the gods they worship. He gestures towards the sky, where crows are circling in large numbers, as if to emphasize his point. With a sense of triumph, Bhuti lets out a laugh, suggesting that he feels invincible. The sky darkened and everyone kneeled. Bhuti told Tien that he could smell the vengefulness in him. Soldiers came and pulled Pim by the arms and she cried to let her go. She screamed Tien and he looked at her being hit by a soldier. Pim is brought before Bhuti, who said that Tien's life is now in his hands. Without hesitation, he draws a knife and swiftly slashes Pim's throat, ending her life. Tien lets out a desperate cry of "No!" as Pim collapses to the ground, blood gushing from her slashed neck. Meanwhile, a large group of soldiers rushes towards Tien, ready to attack. Fueled by anger, Tien begins to fiercely battle the approaching soldiers. In a strategic move, he frees an elephant that was tied to a statue, causing the statue to topple and crush numerous soldiers beneath its weight. Bhuti looks on, observing as Tien single-handedly decimates his forces, one soldier at a time. Bhuti then launches a spear that pierces Tien's chest, causing him to fall to his knees. With a satisfied smile, Bhuti taunts Tien, telling him that he thrives on the vengefulness that resides in Tien's heart. After the intense battle and Pim's tragic death, everything suddenly seems to rewind, returning to the moment just before Pim was taken to Bhuti. Tien, with his eyes wide open, appears to have foreseen the entire sequence of events. After shattering Bhuti's power, Tien watches as the eclipse that had darkened the sky fades away. A powerful force resembling a storm strikes Bhuti in the chest, knocking him back. Following this, all of Bhuti's soldiers fell to the ground, clutching their heads in agony. Meanwhile, those who had been kneeling rose to their feet, their expressions transformed into smiles as they gazed upwards. Conclusion: Bhuti opened his eyes and surveyed the scene, attempting to rise from the ground. He observed all of his soldiers lying on the ground and struggled to stand. Eventually, he managed to get to his feet. Suddenly, a black smoke began to emanate from his body. Tien approached Bhuti, and they stared at each other's eyes before engaging in a fierce battle. Tien eventually threw Bhuti into the water and jumped in after him. Bhuti emerged from the water screaming, and the fight continued. Bhuti, in a desperate move, grabbed a nearby spear and hurled it at Tien. However, Tien was quick to react, managing to catch the spear midair. Bhuti's expression turned to one of shock and disbelief as Tien stood there, holding the spear, poised and ready for whatever came next. Bhuti, enraged by this, came to attack him again and they started fighting again. Finally, as they were fighting on the royal ledge above the arena, Tien grabs Bhuti by the chin, lifts him up, and then drops him onto an elephant below. The elephant's tusk breaks off and fatally impales Bhuti. Blood came out of his mouth. In the village, all the people gather around the Ong Bak statue. They bow in prayer, showing their respect and creating a peaceful moment together. And with that, the movie ends.